And today we get Javier from Dubai, just coming off the UFC 313 card that happened over the weekend, and you get to watch a few of the fights, the main fights. Do you want to stop bottom to top or top to bottom? What's better for you, Jav?
For me, I just want to go on the fights I seen, and I only seen three. I seen the Bobby Green fight, and that was what, less than 2 minutes really total. That was, he got caught. Yeah, about two. What Mark didn't get caught on, but that beautiful spinning wheel kick.
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes in. Let me see.
Yeah, he got quick. It was quick.
It was against Mauricio Rufy, and that was 206 of round one.
Yeah. So basically, that was a quick one, but it was very nice to see them trying to figure each other out. Bobby really couldn't get nothing going on this guy, and this guy was setting him up, and then how he feinted that left hand to come in with that spinning wheel kick was beautifully set up. I mean, that was, hey man, watch out for this guy. This guy's a serious dude, and we're gonna see more of this guy because you don't do that to Bobby Green. That's not just a normal fighter. That's a world-class elite fighter he did this to, and you can't do that to a guy that level like that. So this Rufy guy is the real deal. So he's somebody everybody should watch.
He had his, Bobby had his hands low, and this guy had reach and length, but that kick was just so beautifully put there to knock him out with such speed and precision that, when you're fighting this kind of Bruce Lee low hand style, that kind of like, I'm calling it the Bruce Lee style. It's probably not, but what is that called when you fight from the
Bruce Lee does that. Does a spinning wheel kick, heel kick, heel kick, heel kick. It's a spinning wheel kick, spinning heel kick. I mean, it's basically really utilized really well with Taekwondo. Taekwondo utilizes that kick extremely well. Tang Soo too. My first start was Tang Soo, and we did a lot of wheel kicks too. Heel kick, wheel kick. I mean, we all know what it is. And you turn, you spin, you hit with the heel. Then on this particular case, Rufy hit him with the heel first, then the ball of the foot slapped him too. So, but you have to watch it close because the heel got him, then the ball of the foot went too. But he was out. He was out.
He went right on his face. I think he just like busted his nose up. It wasn't from the kick. Yeah. It was from hitting the mat face first.
Maybe.
Gravity bomb, like boom.
Could be, but he got nailed good, man.
That guy, they say, kind of fights like Connor. But let me ask you, since you did the Taekwondo and the different kicking, how hard is that? Do you wait to land that in like a kickboxing fight or whatever after guys worn down? He's kind of like taking pictures.
It's one of those. If you're not used to it, you can get caught on that. It's not easy to catch somebody with a wheel kick unless they don't never really see it very much. Like I remember when Kung Lee used to train with us, my fighters would always tell me when they spar with him, Hob, tell him to stop doing that stuff. We don't want to spar with him. He does spinning wheel kick, spinning back kick, but that's Kung's stuff. That's what Kung did best at. But these guys would jeopardize Kung by saying, no, you can't spin on us. No spinning back kick. No this. And I mean, Kung will lift you off the ground with the spinning back kick, for God's sake. He was just so good with it. But yeah, so if you're not used to that, and I'm sure Bobby Green's probably not used to that kick. So he probably didn't really see it coming. Most people in Taekwondo, they don't get caught by that because they see it coming. They see the movement. So it's not easy to catch them, but if you're not used to it, yeah, you can. So Bobby, basically, I don't think he's seen too much of it, to be honest with you.
It always looked good in the movies, but to me, it's like in MMA, historically, I've just seen it put in like when a guy's been worn down, third round, hands down, huffing, taking pictures. It's like, okay, early in the round, that was impressive,
No, Cain Velasquez used it on Travis Brown. I was working with Cain on that kick for a good year before I let him use it in the cage, and it worked right away. He hit Travis Brown with that spinning wheel kick, boom. Travis went down, and Cain finished him. So no, that kick's really well utilized if done properly. It's just
that's the last thing you expect from Cain Velasquez, the wrestler.
Well, yeah, of course. That was the other thing too. You don't expect that from him, But we practiced it for over probably about a year or so. I practiced with him. I never let him do it till finally I said, "Okay, now it's time you can use a spinning wheel kick." So he did, and I landed.
That stuff's more powerful than people realize, man. They just like, oh yeah, it's Taekwondo, karate. Wait till you get clubbed by one of those things.
Yeah, it's a whole different story when you get hit by that.
So the other fights, Gage, that was one of the ones that you watched.
Yes.
And versus Khabib.
Yes.
Gaethje's in line. He's in line now. He's like possibly next. Who knows? We got to still wait for everything to shake out. But what did you think about that fight?
It was a very good fight, back and forth. First round, Fizib, I thought got that round, especially how he got him in compromised position at the very end there and hitting them, and I thought that was pretty good. So Fizib did really, really, really well first round. I gave him the first round, and going into the second round, when they both did the same kind of move, Fizib did it first, but then Gage is the one that got him with the hand, right, left hand, and the right uppercut. If you watch it, you see Fizib kind of try to do something similar. He missed, but Gage was riding the money with that, so he took over from that point. And then in the third round, again, it was really close, but again, Gage weathered it and came out. It wasn't a strategic fight so much as a very hard fight for both of them. It was not strategic. It was one of those, okay, I'm gonna gut you out, and basically Gagey got him out again. So it's the second time he's got him, and I think he's put himself in a position where let's see what happens. But he did put himself in a very good position.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now that back to all the Dagestani fighters at the top, you get a new one, Ankalaev, the light heavyweight. We don't have a heavyweight from Dagestan. Are there any heavyweights that you've ever seen over there?
Yeah, but not many. They don't have too many heavyweights. Not from Dagestan. I mean, they're heavyweights in Russia for sure, but from Dagestan, no, not many. There's a couple that I know of, and one is actually on my team, on my GFL team, and there's another one on Team Khabib that fights for Warriors. I think he's 4 or 5-0 now as a heavyweight. He's really good. So let's see what happens. But he's still inexperienced. But they have some those guys. Nurmagomedov gym's gonna just produce countless of world champions for years to come. The way they have it, the way they're disciplined, how many fighters are coming to that gym. And for me, it's a beautiful thing because, it's me too, because I'm part of that group. And we're all loyal to each other. It's AKA, and it's Nurmagomedov, and it's AKA. We're both brothers. We're all loyal to each other. Loyalty is the number one thing for me with Habib, and him, I with him. It's number one first. It's loyalty. And if you ask Habib, who's the most loyal, he'll say me. If you ask me who's the most loyal, I'll say Habib. It's
That
just,
is
it's
it's priceless. It's priceless. I mean, you
no,
can't
it is,
price
it
that.
is. It's something that's a fact too. It's a
Yeah.
fact. It's a fact. Who am I most loyal to? Habib. You ask him who's the most loyal. He'll say, I know he'll say it. He'll say it's me because it's true. Anything that's going to harm him, I don't want to do. Anything that's going to harm me, he won't do. And it's nothing about money. It's all about brotherhood. It's all about caring about somebody. This is a true family type atmosphere, team.
Well, I'm going to go back to the Ankalaev fight. He put a lot of pressure, which no one else has done before, on Pereira. A lot of people are probably leaning towards Pereira because he's been really dominant. And Ankalaev, haven't seen him in a while, but when he was fighting, he was looking pretty damn dominant himself. If you look at his highlight reel, there's nothing but dominance. So, that's what that's.
Well, look at Ankalaev's win percentage. What win streak? I mean, he's number third on the line, right? John Jones, number
Yeah,
one. Islam. I keep saying is like with the Z. Islam with the S.
Islam.
Islam's number two, and then Ankalaev's number three, and Marab's number four with the biggest win streak. So, and Marab, I think, is 12 fight win streak. With the so it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So they all have, they're right there. So two from Dagestan. Two from Dagestan are in that category now. Two champions from Dagestan. So now the whole atmosphere in Dagestan is going to go even bigger now, because now they got so many champions and now so many different areas. Usman, Amaru from UAE Warriors. But watch out for Amaru. Amaru's coming. And you got you got the PFL champions. We have, UFC. It's the two UFC champions. Sorry, so screw that up. Two PFL champions from Team Habib. And Gage, Ramadov, and then I forgot the other guy's name, but he's another one that's just badass, and then Ramazan, who's the welterweight, he's the champion too, for basically Bellator, but now it's PFL, but he's still the champ. So there's a lot of champions, a lot of champions from there. I think right now there's no other gym that has more champions than Team Nurmagomedov, and I don't think there's any other section, like not country, because section, other than Dagestan, that has more champions right now. There's nobody, and I can see this continuing because of the way they train over there, how disciplined they are, and they have the system down. They know what to do. They know how to train. They know where to train, and they have the right coaching now. They have everything. They have everything they need.
Well, I mean, if it all wasn't have been for Muhammad Lawal, King Mo, it's like, yeah, Khabib, you should go train with Javier. He's got a bunch of wrestlers. And then boom, here you are many years later on a podcast. So wild. I can imagine the journey from the beginning of knowing Khabib and seeing, like, could you see now then, or how much more has it surprised you from when you first met him?
Yeah, it's to be here from where I knew back then, because I told him way back then, 2012, when he could learn, maybe it's 2013, and I told him, I don't know what it is about you, but there's something special about you. I go, just like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was to me the greatest, not because what he did in the ring, is what he did outside the ring that made him the greatest to me. And there's something about you too that's special. I don't know exactly what it is just yet, but there's something special about you also, and it wasn't that I didn't think Habib was going to be a champion, because I've stated that once I understood that he knew, when I asked him to, relax, and when he didn't understand, so he went harder, so he thought relax meant go harder. That's when I knew he was going to be a champion, because I knew he listened. So this is past that point where I knew he was going to be a champion. So I knew he was going to be a champion, but I didn't know what kind of special person he was going to be. But I would throw things at him like Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali did great things. Well, look what Habib's done already. When he talked to President Trump in regards to, hey, what can you do about the Palestine, and Israel war? And Trump said, the next day when I come in, I'll stop it the next day. And then what he did after the Usman fight, when he talked about Ireland, we love you, Ireland, we're with you because you're with Palestine and we support you. This is just a sport, but this is beyond sport. We love you, Ireland, and that to me is what special people do. They don't think about themselves, they think about other people, and that's what he's been doing his whole life. And a lot of the things that he does, which I'm sure he doesn't like it because I say it sometimes, is he takes care of everybody. He takes care of me. He does things for me. He rented this apartment for me here. He's been doing that forever. And he buys people tickets everywhere. He takes care. He always asks people, that are brothers to him, if you need anything. I mean, he is what he says he is. He just doesn't say nothing to anybody about it. And I probably shouldn't say much myself, because that's not what he's here for. He doesn't want to be patted on the back. He just does it from his heart, because that's what God intended for him to do, and that's what he does.
That's an awesome thing. And you got everything growing around it. That kind of energy shows you what it creates. I mean, you see the champions, the brotherhood, the growth. That's the secret. All the ego and the greed and the like wanting celebrity in a certain way. He doesn't care for that. It's part of the, he's like, well, since I'm here, what good can I do with this position? And that's really the way he is. But I mean, a lot of people get caught up. They become a champion and everyone's like, come with me on my private jet. Let's go to this disco and let's drink champagne and let's do something illegal, whatever. I mean, like the Temptation Island happens to a lot of fighters. I've seen it happen to them, and it's like they're the man for the night or the woman for whoever won that night, they're that person. And then boom, that all disappears and you're nothing till your next fight until you're the champ. And then everybody wants a piece of you. Every sponsor it's nuts, man. It's a hell of a journey. So I didn't mean to skip over, but the Ankalaev fight, what was the points? What was your takeaway from that fight, Ankalaev versus Pereira?
The first round was really, really good for Pereira. He came in, he started, calf kicking him quite a bit, catching him really well. It looked like things were going to start going his way, you know. So he definitely, in my opinion, clearly won the first round, in my opinion, with his effectiveness, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, we're thinking that maybe Ankalaev would slow down. No, he increased. He did a lot of level changing. He did his hand position like this, and he came up the middle with the front kick, tip kick, you know, and he basically pressured him, continued to pressure him, and this is the first time really we've seen Alex back up as much as he did. So he backed him up a lot. He caught him on when trying to switch, which is the wrong thing to do when you're switching. You know, when a punch is being thrown, don't be switching. And he got caught in the switch, you know, and that's what got him with that good punch straight cross. You know, the cross got him. So that was not a good thing for him. But in the third round, it was the first thing like the second round. The same thing came at him, and Clive continued doing the pressure, wouldn't let Alex go. Alex was not wanting to pull the trigger. He was slightly a little bit slow on the trigger, and that's because he didn't know if he was going to be taken down or not, because the way he did his movie, changing angles all the time, always changing levels. Am I gonna take it down? I'm not gonna take it down. And with the hand, all of a sudden he's punching you, he's kicking you, you know, his front kicking you up the middle, you know, tip kicking you up the middle. I mean, Ankalaev was doing everything perfect. At fourth round, he came in, and that was beautiful too. And then I'm sure I've been boring for the fans, but for me, it was beautiful because how he made sure he secured that round by smothering them up against the cage, not letting them in, controlling them, knees, short knees. Everything he did was perfect, Ankalaev, in the fourth round. And, you know, come the fifth round, you know, obviously for me, it was, you know, 3-1 at that point. So I'm thinking, okay, so now you would think that Alex is probably told by his corner, you better knock him out. You better knock him out. You have to finish him. Well, Alex came on in the fifth round very aggressive, more so than he did the other rounds, even more so than the first round. And he came out doing well. But Ankalaev was still going in a nice groove. You know, he was still not changing his tactics. And basically, the fifth round was close, but I actually gave it to Alex. So I gave it 3-2 Ankalaev. So Ankalaev to me is the winner in my opinion. So the judges got it right, you know. But even that, you know, the one judge that had it 49-46. I'm not saying he had it wrong, but you know, but it was that clear to me that Ankalaev won that fight.
Yeah, I mean, now you've got all these champions from Dagestan. As we said, now he's top. He's the cherry on top. It's like, who's next? Who's next from Dagestan? Huh? Do you have anyone that's going to fill another slot that's open?
There's more coming. Dagestan's got so many great fighters that you haven't even heard of. You know, another one that you're going to hear about soon is the UAE Warriors champion Amru. Amru, you know, Amru is special, and you'll see him soon. One day he'll be in the UFC. You'll see. He'll be there. You know,
What
and
weight class is he fighting at?
he's a lightweight. He's the lightweight UAE Warriors champion. You know, Usman's the lightweight champion. Gaji's the lightweight champion for the PFL. And Islam is the UFC champion. So all the champions and four prominent organizations are you know, in the Margamadov gym. You know, they have more champions. You know, that they have from their gym, but you know, they have the featherweight PFL champion, and they also have the Bellator champion Ramazan. You know, who's the welterweight champion. So you know, yeah, they're loaded with talent, bro, and they got so much. When you go in there now, I mean, there's so many guys there that you don't even know who they are. The last show we had the UAE Warriors. There were seven team from Nurmagomedov gym. Seven. Okay, they went 7-0 that day, and there was a few fighters there that I saw. They were good, and I was like, you know, I didn't know who they were. But they were good, and I said, "Man, I never seen these guys." Habib, you know, these guys haven't been training with us. Oh, not on the camps, anyways, because I haven't been to Dagestan in a while, right? But when they come here, they haven't been with us in training camp, and I've seen quite a few, but there was a lot more that I haven't seen, and very impressive, very impressive. Trust me, I said it before. You remember I used to say that people don't know yet that the best team in the world is at the Margamadov gym in Dagestan. People just don't know it yet. Now people know it, you know, and I'm happy because it's part of me too. It's part of AKA. We're AKA, same thing. Just like Jackson was with TriStar, with when GSP would train, it's the same thing. So I'm in that same boat with, and I'm happy to be in that boat, you know. And like we talked about earlier, the loyalty part between Habib and I is second to none. You know, if you ask him who's the most loyal, he'll probably say me. And if you ask me who's the most loyal, I'll definitely say it's him. and then for me, my close second is Cain Velasquez, but in that order, they're all loyal, but the loyalist for me is Habib, hands down.
It
You
is
know,
interesting thing. You spend your time in fighting. Loyalty is, you would think it's a guarantee. It's the rare
not
thing. But you found the fountain of abundance. But in a lot of cases, people meet people. Yeah, what are you going to do for me? It's like I've seen people turn over their gyms to some. Maybe he's not the top. I'm the guy, and they make a fighter's gym. They go broke, and these
yeah,
guys, suck them dry because they're trying to fight and they don't have a lot of money, and everybody's hustling everybody. Yeah, you're gonna get your gym's gonna get famous off me. I'm like, that doesn't mean any more memberships. Like all these different things, right? That
yeah.
happen. To find someone like Habib is the ultimate thing because like me growing up, all the stuff that you saw Bruce Lee preaching when we were kids, honor, loyalty, and then you saw in like Taekwondo schools, the old style of,
Yeah.
doing martial arts. And I expected that. And I get around MMA, I go, oh, this is nothing. This is this is wild and out. There's no consistency in it. But seeing you have that with Habib is so impressive.
No, there's no ifs and buts about that. It's loyalty to the core, I mean, look where I'm at in Dubai again, and he's paid for my apartment for the whole year, So, he's rented me an apartment every year I've been here, and I shouldn't be saying these things because it's not something he wants credit for, but I can say so many other things, how beautiful things this man does for so many people, He's got a big load on his shoulders and what he does, and like I mentioned in the past, when he first came to me, I didn't know. When I first found out, he didn't understand when I used to tell him to relax, and he used to go hard. I mean, I go, man, if this guy could only listen, he would be great. Then when he finally learned how to speak English, he tells me that, Coach, I didn't understand. When you tell me, relax, I thought that meant go hard. So then that's when I realized that he was going to be a champion. And then after that, I would talk to him about why I thought Muhammad Ali was the greatest of all time. And it was not due to the fact that Ali was just great inside the ring, is how great he was outside the ring. That to me, and still to this day, Muhammad Ali is the greatest in my eyes of all time. I don't care who's got a better fight record. To me, he's the greatest because what he stood for, who he fought for, and Habib is following in that footsteps. And I yet to see any other fighter do what he's doing. With the Trump situation, he was talking about the Palestine war, about what you can do about helping that, and every time he's in a situation where he can talk good, he wants to talk good about helping people, and the situation with Ireland when Usman fought, Paul, and it was a great fight, and Paul fought, like a warrior. It was a good fight, he showed great for himself, and Habib goes out there and talks about that, we love Ireland, we support Ireland. This is just a sport, but you, the people of Ireland, we love, and that to me is the sign of a great man, and that's the sign of what someone that is means good for people should be doing. Bringing us together, not separating us. This is just a sport, and those are the words you use. This is a sport. The reality is different. The sport is the sport. We
It
can
is an
maintain it.
interesting time when you talk about the White House being MMA centric. You got Cash Patel that wants, Dana White to have fighters train the FBI. I'm like, okay, like having had combatives and MMA in my same gym, they're different things for different purposes, right? But if you want for a physical fitness regime, I could see that being good. But as far as like training MMA for an agent, that specifically thing is different than like, are you going to run a boot camp so they can be fit like fighters? That's cool. Like Habib training would be great for something like that. Like he runs a,
Yeah, but if you think about it, I seen that with that FBI guy Patel. His
yeah,
last name
Cash
Patel.
Patel.
Okay. I think he's on the right track. If you want my opinion, he's on the right track because I'm sorry, but without weapons, you're not going to beat a UFC guy. You're not. You're just not. I don't care what you're doing. You're not going to beat them,
Right.
because they are cream of the crop fighters. Now, put guns, you put weapons, you
Apex.
put knives, that changes everything. And I don't care about this scratch the eye, this and that. Because listen, you don't think a fighter, trained fighter, can do the same to you, scrap you in the eye if he had a knife, stab
Yeah.
you? You don't think he can do that? You're damn right he can do that.
Yeah.
So guess what? Patel's correct. If you train UFC, meaning MMA, not so much UFC, or use UFC
Remember
talent.
that old acronym? Yeah. I train UFC. When someone would tell you that, you're like, oh, because it was MMA, but people would use
Yeah,
the wrong acronym, right?
but he's talking about using UFC fighters, which I think it's a good morale booster. And listen, I don't know if you remember this, but long time ago, Mike Swick, Josh Koscheck, and Chuck Liddell used to do those tours in the army bases, and they would go in with elite fighters, and Mike Swick would go one after another, submitting these guys and just playing with them, right? So how's that possible when you go to an elite people? How's that possible? Because you're trained specifically for this. When you're in the elite like league of the army or the navy or etc the seals, you're not specifically training one particular thing. So when you meet somebody that's training this all year long for years and years, and you got 1 year compared to his competitive maybe 10 years, it's kind of not going to be to your advantage if you're going with them, unless you use your other skills that you have. There be your guns, your knives, everything else, that they're taught, and uh, on the level of what's the toughest, hand to hand, you're not going to find anything tougher than a UFC type trained individual. And I don't care what you say about poking eyes and this and that. You can do the same thing. You don't think a UFC
You're
guy,
not
you
going
don't
to
think
sneak
Tanner?
up on an
No.
athletic beast with your slow, out of shape body. I'm going to get your eyes.
Yeah, or you don't think they can do it to you much easier than
Right.
you can do it to them? I'm
They're faster.
sorry, they
Yeah, yeah.
can. They're trained better. They can do it to you easier. They want to kick you in the nuts. They can kick you in the nuts a lot quicker than you can kick them. So
I
for those
agree.
people that think, oh, we're going to go for the throw, we're going to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you've never obviously been in the ring or the cage with a professional fighter to
Yeah.
understand the timing is so different. The way they attack is so different. So you unleash an MMA fighter or a boxer, and you teach them weapons, and you teach them this, and you don't think they're going to be the dangerous people walking on earth? You're damn right they are. Just like Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy was a UFC fighter. You going to tell me that he's not probably the most dangerous guy, in the world? He probably is, because he can shoot you from thousands of yards away. He can cut you. He can do this. He can do that. He's one of the toughest guys in the world. So as an overall, I bet you Tim Kennedy is probably the number one guy overall.
He's
Overall,
one of,
overall,
he's pretty
everything.
well rounded. I think it's like looking at Navy SEALs and saying, okay, can you slam dunk a basketball? Probably most of them can't. Some of them can, but most of them can't. Maybe they're not that tall. Maybe they're not basketball players. Well, the same thing goes for MMA, that crossover. But does it make MMA fighters good at big game hunting? Maybe not. Running through mountains, hunting down elk, different skill set. But I'm just like saying that people have often thought like special forces means you get some hand-to-hand basic training that you could come beat up Chuck Liddell, who used to get in fights with lots of them when he was a bouncer and used to knock him out all the time, at least so I've heard in stories. So, I
Probably
just
true.
swam 3 miles. I'm ready to fight Chuck Liddell. Like, no, it doesn't equate, my friend. And I'm
Doesn't
not,
work that
as
way.
a veteran, I'm
Doesn't.
not putting down my fellow veterans. I'm saying that
Hmm.
different specialty, man, you know?
Stating facts is not putting anybody down. You're just stating facts.
Yeah, you can run 5 miles really good, but can you ski down that mountain? Maybe not. So there it is. But I don't know. It's interesting to see that if I think there needs to be a resurgence in physical fitness, and maybe that just that alone, because of the 4 years of the lockdown and all this stuff, has not helped people physically, mentally, the morale, and putting some energy into law enforcement or the troops and everybody kind of upping the game, which seems to be what they're kind of after right now.
Yeah.
Just making people more alpha. That's what they're going to be for their job.
I believe that the individual for the FBI is on the right track, 100% the right track. That's the right type of training that they need. It's going to make them almost virtually impossible to stop. Really.